Hello and welcome to Repaint introduction tutorial. Let's have a look at the structure of Repaint. So, first of all, F1 gives you a help screen with all the necessary hotkeys to get you around. Then, your main control panel is on the Shift key. Here you can tune your brush, have your file saving operations and tool options. Then, on the key 1, you have access to current layer transformations and related operations. On the hotkeys 3, 4, 3 and 4 we have stable diffusion and other neural networks operations. There will be separate video about them. Hotkey, what was it? Yes, hotkey 5 gives you a perspective transformation tool. Now, a brief overview of the brush options. So here on the left panel, you have presets for your brushes, which you can select and apply by double-clicking them. Then you have selection of various blend modes and stroke options. However, the main panel for brush regulations is accessible from the Shift hotkey. So here we have an assortment of different sliders which let you tune different parameters of the brush. So what is important is that you can assign tablet or other modulation functions to each of the slider. So for example, we have a slider which is responsible for the radius and we can assign velocity to it. So this means that now velocity will regulate the radius of the brush. So, and same goes, for example, this is tablet pressure, which is, I'm not on a tablet right now, so, but you get the idea. And yes, so each slider has two tick marks, white and dark, which means the range in which it operates. So I can swap them, and that would mean that range operation inverted. So now, when I move brush slowly, it will be big, and when I move it fast, it will be tiny. The next important feature of the brushes is ability to use custom textures that you can also make on the fly. So let's take an arrow brush as an example. It is already pre-tuned for this arrow shape and it uses this custom texture. But now you say, okay, I want my own texture. So you can go to the right panel, click here to create a new texture, click on this texture and draw something in here. So let's say I want something else. I don't know. I want a spiral. That's really awkward spiral. Then you can click on the layer to get back to the painting. And here you can select your new texture in the texture panel and get drawing with it. You can use either brush RGB or texture RGB, but okay, we have the same color. Yes, nice. So for example, I can say brush RGB and select different color and paint with that color. Now, another thing that is not quite in this panel right now, but it can be quite handy, which is the stroke smoothing. So if I use linear stroke smoothing, I can get like, oh, this, you see, not a pretty edges if I draw too fast. However, you can set up the smooth one. You can get, well, okay, that's okay for a trackball drawing, but you can also set the threshold for this smooth painting, so you will not be able to get really jagged stuff, so it will limit your minimum distance of a segment. So this can be useful if you want to draw something like really round. Now, a couple of words about blending modes and underlying image format. So, as you can see, the default normal mode is N gamma. So, what is it? Usually, when you try to blend, let's say, unblendable colors, like this is the best example, cyan and red. If you pick the ordinary linear mode for blending, you will get something like this. You see? really dark blend. So all of that goes down onto how lightness is encoded into each of the channel. So simply saying, this gamma blending mode resolves this problem. It is no longer that dark. Of course it blends down to gray, but it looks better. There is another one that blends it in lab space, which also gives a little bit different result. Now, every image in Repaint is broken down into the layers and is stored in 16-bit format. This means that each channel gets 65,000 of values instead of regular 255 for each channel. So what does it mean for us? It means that we can afford much lower tolerances for semi-transparency. For example, let me take really transparent brush, which maybe you don't even see it. I don't know, I can barely see it myself. And I start drawing. You see, I'm not getting any artifacts, any banding whatsoever. So I guess on any other app, if you don't switch into 16-bit mode, you will instantly get banding or posterization of caused by inability to resolve really tiny values. So, but here, no problem whatsoever. And so I'm opening it fast on viewer to see, let's look at the levels of the image. So yeah, you see we kind of ending at the lower end of histogram, but I can positively zoom in here and zoom into really small region. And what Repaint does here is very deceiving. We create detail on these transparent areas that cannot be properly presented into 8-bit space to account for this banding. So even after export, there is some counter to this stuff. Let's have a quick view on the tool selection. So default tool is our brush, selectable here, painting as usual. Then second tool is smudge, or finger, whatever we call it. Oh, yeah, it is fast because it uses OpenGL and shaders and whatever. So this is really fast finger. One important thing about the finger is we have this clone opacity slider, which will also blend in some color for it, which kind of can give you some interesting results. Kind of a glassy paint, I don't know how to call it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And the last tool we have right now is a simple line. It kind of uses velocity for modulation, but it's work in progress. So layer panel is located on the right, and the section about layers is in the upper part of it. So we have our blending modes for layers, opacity threshold, and etc. So how no? Now let's have a look what we can do with layers. So layer panel is located on the right, and the upper portion of it is dedicated specifically to layers. So we can add new layer, draw something onto it, we can duplicate it, delete it. We can also make an instance of this layer, which means that it will share the texture with already created layer. So if I draw something here, come on, do something. Yeah, it will show it exactly on the second layer as well. So next, let's talk about a little bit about transformations. So next, let's have a look at layer transformations. So it's accessible with hotkey 1, where you can move the layer with your left mouse, rotate it with the right mouse. You can also set the pivot for rotation with single left click. So here I can rotate it around whatever point I want. You can move those handles to rescale the layer on all axes or specifically on whatever axis you need. And what's important, this transformation is non-destructive. So I can apparently scale this layer to what? To a couple of pixels. However, if I scale it back, the texture remains. So this transformation is only it's kind of a transformation in a world or scene space. The content of the layer doesn't change from it. Now talking about transformations, let's see how we can crop our canvas. So the idea is the same. We have some gizmo located in the role space which defines what section of the canvas we'll be looking at or we are exporting into files or saving it. So it's accessible by this button, framing canvas, framing crop. That's strange. Anyhow, so I can define transformation, define what resolutions should it be, and you see, yeah, we are kind of to a couple of pixels again. And I can move these layers and still all of it is non-destructive. I can get back to the cropping and say, okay, I want 2000 for my size, and all of your content is retained. Now, let's have a look at layer properties. So blend modes and opacity are pretty straightforward. So I can create new layer, draw something onto it, and opacity regulates it. Blend mode also works same for brushes, so I can set it to multiply and duplicate it, and it will darken itself over and over. Anyhow, another interesting thing is built-in threshold and feather options, which regulates the alpha of the layer. So by moving threshold, I can push or check what alpha is getting painted. And feather is, you guessed it, how much of this range is getting interpolated. So it's kind of very similar to what SDF does, sign distance fields. And what I can do with this is I can produce interesting effects like outlines. Get this layer state and I can hit preserve alpha to not really paint, not really alter the alpha of the layer, and let's push it. Yeah, and you see, you kind of can get any outline you want. Oh, I dropped it, but anyway, let's duplicate it and paint it over and get something out of it. Or not, because we are already at the edge. So yeah, I can also use it with finger to achieve some interesting effects, because finger also alters alpha channel and can kind of create or fine-tune the shapes you want out of it using this threshold and feather modes. And finally, the last but not least, the feature I was missing in every painting editor out there, the seamless mode. So you can turn it on here on the left side, and it gives you duplication of the canvas on all of the sides, and you can seamlessly draw between all of them. You can close it to see only your canvas and get it back. And what's more important, you can do the same thing with layers. So let's look at what we have on the layer side here as well. So the biggest pain for me always was to get some shape and align it in texture perfect way, in a seamless way to say. So let's say I draw my hexagon, because hexagons are the best hexagons, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it. And now what? Now I want to position this shape somehow so it can be seamless. And what I can do, I can toggle the seamless and canvas flag for the layer, and it will allow me to precisely position it however I need. I can turn seamless preview back, and now I see that I actually got the cube going here, so I can squish it and stretch it until I really get what I want to get. But I don't know what I want to get, so I can maybe duplicate it and get another one in between or so. And of course I can drop it down, and now I got the same texture, and it's all seamless, and it's whatever like aspect ratio you want it to be. And this is all. Thanks for watching. Join the Discord channel. Repaint will remain free and open source and offline. Get it on the GitHub, fork the repository, let it live on. See ya.